Coming up on Mount News this morning, Kentucky senators make a visit to some of the hard-hit counties, continuing to clean up after recovering after disaster. And ARH needs some extra help with getting people impacted by the flooding back on their feet.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, 6 o'clock on it's Wednesday. I'm Dakota Makris. Good morning to you. Let's head over to Brandon for a look at our forecast this morning. And Brandon, it is thankfully quiet this morning. I know there is a flood watch in effect this morning, but right now it's all calm and clear outside.
So far. Some fog out there this morning, so be careful.
See, I never know if there's fog or not. I just live.
It's here.
Yeah.
I can tell you it's here, and I'll show you the hazard camera here in a second to reinforce that. But yeah, it is across parts of the region, not everywhere, but it is around this morning. I-75 at London, looking kind of at a different view there this morning, but again, kind of widened out to give us a better perspective. You can see maybe a little bit of fog down that way, maybe some cloud cover. It's hard to tell on that dark screen there. We're looking at temperatures in the 60s and 70s, from 64 in Clintwood and Wise to about 73 in Wayne, West Virginia this morning. 82 is the forecast. Again, if we have more sunshine, it's going to be like the last 2 days, and we'll probably get closer to the average high there of 85. But the front comes in tonight. That's going to cool us off, so I can tell you that. 95, the record set back on this day in 2010. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, just one day after President Joe Biden's visit, Senator Mitch McConnell made the rounds in Pike, Letcher, Knott, and Floyd counties. Senator McConnell went to Fleming Neon Middle School, talking with Mayor of Neon, Susie Polis, as well as volunteers and teachers. He gave his support and promised the federal government is in it for the long haul.
These kind of catastrophes, as awful as they are, bring out the best in everyone, the very best in everyone. And we're so grateful for your hope and your optimism. And I want to tell you, from a federal government point of view, state government's involved as well, deeply involved. From a federal government point of view, we're going to be here until the job is finished, no matter how long that takes.
Now, the senator thanked President Joe Biden for coming to Eastern Kentucky and said the recovery will not be a political statement from either side. Senator Rand Paul also made stops in Eastern Kentucky yesterday. He met with survivors and he got a first-hand look at the damage. We talked with one survivor Senator Paul talked with, who says he will have to rebuild his home. Senator Rand Paul talked with volunteers and people affected by historic flooding at Gospel Light Baptist Church in Hazard, like Johnny Mullins from Breathitt County, who says his house is gone.
There was 9 in my house, and then I went up and drug my father-in-law through the mud down to the house so he'd be safe.
Mullins and his family are staying at Gospel Light's shelter for now, meeting with Paul and hoping he will take their stories and others like them back to Washington.
Started trying to get out about 2 o'clock, and when we did, we couldn't because the mountain come off, mudslide and 50, 60 trees right in front of the door where we was at.
Senator Paul says Eastern Kentuckians are resilient and applauded volunteer efforts.
It's heartwarming to see the members of this church coming forward. One gentleman we just met's been out here every day, all day long doing this.
Paul says communities need money as they rebuild. One major concern is water system repairs. He says communities should be allowed to dip into their COVID relief dollars, especially since a disaster was declared. Paul is sending President Biden a letter asking him to issue a waiver so they can use that money, along with sending a letter to Governor Andy Beshear asking him to free up the funding.
They have some money that's already been sent for COVID, that they may think the water system's more pressing right now than testing for COVID.
Hoping to see Eastern Kentucky build back stronger. In Perry County, Dakota Makris, WYMT Mountain News. One reporter asked Senator Paul about criticisms he is facing due to his response to the flooding, saying the president visited before he did. Senator Paul says he has been busy working in Washington, and in the immediate response to a disaster, you do not want politicians getting in the way of first responders. He said, quote, "The time to be present is both now and moving forward," end quote. Governor Andy Beshear says search and rescue teams will remain in Eastern Kentucky with the possibility of more flooding in the forecast. He says 190 National Guard members are also in the impacted areas and have delivered more than 38,000 cases of water and meals. The governor expects the state will transition from an emergency response to a stabilization mode today. He says he's hopeful there is not more flooding that hinders recovery efforts.
certainly if we can get through tomorrow night without major flooding, we'll be able to allow some of the federal search and rescue folks to go home. I mean, they've now been helping us for a while. But the next 2 days are of significant concern. Folks have been through too much.
Governor Beshear says it's likely within the next month there will be a special session in Frankfort to approve flood relief for eastern Kentucky. As days go by and cleanup continues, Appalachian Regional Healthcare is hoping to meet the needs of eastern Kentucky, but it needs your help to do so. Lately, ARH has been collecting water, cleaning supplies, and non-perishable food items, but now it's asking for work gear, camping supplies, dehumidifiers, and baby formula. ARH President and CEO Holly Phillips says donations have started to slow down a bit, but she hopes that won't be for long.
We're going to keep collecting until we feel the need is met out there.
ARH is sending supplies to hospitals in Hyden, Hazard, and Whitesburg. Those places are functioning as distribution sites. It is also collecting donations through its website. All funds will go to flood victims. On Tuesday, hundreds of water filtration systems were dropped off to be put into homes this week. Water with Blessings is a nonprofit water purification ministry. The filters are designed to provide people with safe, clean, and healthy water. We will have more information on the filters later this week, but for now, you can reach out to Chavy's First Church of God for more information about how to get access to a filter. The annual Bluegrass Care Navigators and WSGS Radio Day in Hazard is usually focused on raising money for hospice care. But this year, well, the fundraiser was just a little different. In addition to fundraising for hospice care, those behind the radio day on WSGS wanted to raise money for Eastern Kentucky flood relief too, with several hospice care staff being personally impacted by the flood, all while still caring for patients. Radio Day coordinators say it only felt right to highlight both efforts.
Every organization has the opportunity today to come down and tell if they need something, if they have things to give, so this is a way for all of Eastern Kentucky to partner together, and we can help flood victims as well as hospice patients.
Well, more than $16,000 raised for hospice from yesterday's radio day will go directly to the patients at the Hazard facility, and around $2,000 raised for flood relief will go to the Eastern Kentucky Flood Relief Fund. One Letcher County native, with some help from businesses in Somerset, paved the way for hundreds of items to be delivered to flood victims in Letcher County. Our Jordan Mullins has more from Jenkins Middle High School, where the man organized some help for people in his hometown with the help of a behavioral health clinic and Kemper Home Furnishings.
Protea Behavioral Health Counseling recently delivered a large donation to Jenkins Middle High School in Letcher County.
We just bought a hotel in Somerset that we're turning into a women's treatment facility. And so they was gutting it, and they donated all the beds, all the microwaves, the mini fridges, and then countless other donations. It was just a blessing.
After the first truck scheduled to bring the more than 90 beds, 17 mini fridges, 16 microwaves, and other donations broke down, Protea officials called another local business, Kemper Home Furnishings.
We stressed and stressed and stressed, trying to find another truck, and my fiance was going through Somerset, and she said, I'm gonna call Kemper. And she made a phone call, and that was it. They was ready to roll with it.
And what started as small plans became a truckload of hope for folks in Letcher County.
This means the world to me. You know, I never thought that a little Facebook post that I made to try to help my hometown would end up like this right here, having National Guard and State Police, City Police, Jenkins School, walking into this school and seeing all the donations in there. I went to high school here.
And school officials are thankful for the help from Protea, Kemper Home Furnishings, as well as locals willing to give their time.
We've seen people willing to, in 90-degree weather, to come out here and give of themselves to help us rebuild here in this community. And I'm just so humbled and so proud to be a part of the Jenkins community.
Giving affected families a taste of normalcy, whether it's a dry place to rest or a way to warm their food. In Letcher County, Jordan Mullins, WYMT Mountain News.
Well, Superintendent Damian Johnson also says Tackett was one of many people to return to the region to help out.
610 on the money this morning. We're tracking a little bit of cloud cover, maybe just a little bit of rain across the border into Tennessee. We're keeping a very close eye on it, but so far not a whole lot to report this morning. Might even see some sunshine in some locations as you're waking up. Fog is out there as well, so continue to be careful. Anything less than 5 miles on this map, which is several locations and several that are not included on this map, dense fog, so take it easy out there as you travel. 64 Clintwood and Wise, 73 in Wayne, West Virginia. So again, a lot of upper 60s and low 70s across most of the region from the west to the east to the north to the south. Temperature change from this time yesterday, 2 degrees colder in several locations like Wise, Jonesville, Jackson, Prestonsburg, Hazard, London, Somerset, and Williamsburg. I think our winter today is Moorhead, which is 4 degrees colder than it was this time yesterday. 82 this afternoon. Again, if the sun stays out longer like it did the last couple of days, it'll be 84, 85, or a little bit better. But scattered chances for showers and storms increase, especially later today, and that will continue our flood watch for a little while longer. So say it with me. One more day, we can get out of this mess. Heavy rain is possible later. Have a way to get those alerts. Keep an eye on your creeks and streams and stay weather aware. After this, we see a cooler and drier trend to start the weekend. Dakota?
All right, Brendan, thank you. Well, coming up, we learn more about a crash on a major Kentucky interstate that ended with 3 lives being taken.